because we believe in them, we create them. And you know, the way out of here, the way to create a world that's more of a dream than a nightmare, is to think it out of existence, rather than you know, get involved in stockpiling weapons and all that stuff that a lot of people think you're going to have to do to fight this, you know, centralization and dominating the fascist force that's rapidly emerging. If you do that, you just play the Matrix game, and the whole game will go on. We need to take control of our minds back and create something else.
Mm-hmm. So again, it comes back to what we're believing with that, with all of it.
Well, everything is. I mean, when you look at these apparent miracles, I mean, one of the things this boy's taught is the laws of physics, right, don't exist except in our minds. And to be honest, and this is supportable, very supportable by the fact that what they're finding at the quantum level is the belief of the scientist doing the experiment affects the outcome of the experiment. Now, where is scientific law when that's going on? The only law is what you believe is what you'll create. What this voice was saying is that the laws of physics and the limitations of the laws of physics are only limitations because we believe in them. And what you see with people who do miraculous things is they simply disconnect their belief from the consensus reality that these laws of physics are real. There's a story that Michael Talbot tells in his book, The Holographic Universe, of a guy who was with some shaman, they call them kahuna, in Hawaii. And they told him they were going to walk across these immensely hot volcanic rocks that were only cooled enough to take their weight, the lava flowing and stuff. And what he said they did is they went into a kind of meditative state before they did it, and then they walked barefoot across, in front of his eyes, across these volcanic rocks that were incredibly hot, and went to the other side and had no effect whatsoever, right? And the guy here who was telling the story, he said they then invited him to do it, and you know, typical of the kind of the mentality, he said, well, all right, he said, but I'm going to keep my boots on, right? As if that made any blood difference. Anyway, they took him through this process that they went through, and then he walked across with them, and his boots were burnt away, but his feet weren't affected.
Wow.
Why? Because if you believe that heat and fire is real, and that your foot is real, you'll burn your foot. I mean, it's kind of how far it goes. Even if they burnt their feet, they wouldn't register the pain of it in their feet. They register it in their brain. The brain takes the message from the foot and manifests it as ow, right? So what they're basically doing is telling their mind, brain, this is not going to burn me, because it's an illusion, basically. And so the message from the foot to the brain doesn't say, I'm burning. It doesn't register that. So the foot doesn't burn. It's all belief, because this is an illusion, it's a hologram.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends. It is only yourself.
So if that's possible, it's going to be possible to do anything.
Anything, literally. I mean, there have been laboratory experiments with skeptical scientists over the years, where people have pushed a sword through their body out the other side. They've been X-rayed with it inside them, right? Pulled it out again, and there's no reaction whatsoever. Some have a slight red line, others have nothing at all. And what they've done is disconnected from consensus reality, because they realize that their body's an illusion, the soul's an illusion. An illusion cannot have an illusion unless you believe it can. So the scale at which this is all an illusion and we're creating it is now becoming patently obvious to me. Now, if, like I say, you are a network of manipulators who understand this, they know that if they can implant a reality into us that is real, we will live it. And they have implanted a reality of limitation, basically, because people who think in limited terms, who think limitation, are a piece of cake to manipulate. In people who think in terms of I can't, I'm ordinary, they're a manipulator's party trick. And this is why they've worked so hard to limit our perversion of reality, because then we'll manifest a limited reality. And what these people, like I said, in miracles and stuff do, they just disconnect from that consensus reality, and therefore they're not subject to the laws of it. It's that simple.
I was glad you mentioned aging too in your talk yesterday. Because that's a personal belief of mine. Is that it's we buy into it precognitive commitment. We see people before us getting old, and we just buy into it.
How can an illusion get old unless you believe it can? This five-sense reality is actually a time loop. So it's a thought construct which we buy into, and by buying into it, we actually hold it together. If you believe in, and how many people on this planet do not believe in the passage of time? I mean, hardly anybody does. And therefore, if you believe in this passage of time from past through present to future, then your mind becomes part of the cement that holds that thought construct together, therefore you live it. And what this voice was telling me is actually it's a loop, in a sense. You go into the future, but eventually it loops round and becomes the past. And actually, because we come into this time loop, and we don't live in conscious awareness in one lifetime, the whole loop, right? We come in at a different point, and we only live a little section of it. We don't realize that actually it's the same thing going round and round and round and round and round and round. It goes into the modern world, and then it goes back to the kind of primitive world, and then it goes back to the modern world. It's just going round and round and round and round. And this voice was saying that to reinforce the belief in this time loop reality, believing the passage of time from past to future, there are many kind of mechanisms and programs which have been installed to reinforce this. One is night and day, because when I was kind of in that massively altered state of kind of oneness, this voice said to me, "Can you see any sun here? Can you see any moon? Can you see any light or dark?" And the other thing it said was that we are programmed to age, because nothing reinforces the passage of time from past to future than the sight of people going from a baby to an old person and then dying. Because look, mate, look, it's a bloody baby here, mate, right? And this lady is 70 years of age, okay? The world is a hologram, and the way holograms in this world are created is by taking a laser beam. Half the laser beam basically goes straight to the photographic print, and the other half of the same laser beam is deflected off, goes across the subject it wishes to photograph, and then is deflected back onto the plate. And these two sides of the same laser beam then interact and create what they call an interference pattern, just like a massive bloody light. And it seems to be nothing. But if you then fire the same laser onto that